You're sitting at your desk and you get that notification. Your car needs $1,200 in repairs, and immediately your stomach drops. Not because you don't have the money, technically you do, but because paying it means your checking account is going to look rough, real rough. And now you're doing that mental math of, okay, if I pay this, can I still cover rent? What about groceries? Should I just put this on the credit card? That panic? That's what life feels like when you don't have real savings. And look, I'm not here to judge you. I've been there. Most people have been there. But here's the thing. Once you save your first $10,000, that exact same scenario plays out completely differently. And I'm going to show you exactly why. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wealth Context. If you're new here, this is where we break down the real financial principles that actually matter. No fluff, no get-rich-quick nonsense, just the stuff that works. And before we get into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Seriously, it helps the algorithm show this to more people who need it. So let's talk about $10,000. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not that much money. And you're right, it's not. You're not going to retire on 10 grand. You're not going to buy a house with it. But here's what most people don't realize. $10,000 is the single most important financial milestone you'll ever hit. And I'm going to prove that to you with both the math and the psychology. Because once you cross this threshold, everything shifts, and I mean everything. The baseline reality. All right, so first, let's establish where most people actually are financially, because I think this is going to surprise you. According to the Federal Reserve's latest survey of consumer finances, the median savings account balance in America is around $5,300. Median, meaning half of people have less than that. And when you break it down by age, it gets even worse. The median for people under 35, around $3,240. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you look at liquid savings, money that's actually accessible in a checking or savings account, about 40% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something. $400. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's just irresponsible people. And look, I get it. It's easy to judge. But here's the thing. The system is kind of designed to keep you broke. Think about it. You've got student loans, car payments, rent or mortgage, insurance, groceries. And by the time you're done with all that, there's not a lot left over. And then society tells you, oh, but you should also enjoy your life. Go on vacation. Get the new iPhone. You deserve it. So most people end up in this cycle where they're earning decent money, like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck because their expenses have inflated right along with their income. This is the trap. And the only way out is to break that cycle and actually accumulate some real savings. And that number? It starts at $10,000.
The psychological shift. Here's what happens psychologically when you don't have savings. Your brain is basically always in crisis mode. There's this concept in psychology called scarcity mindset, and it's been studied extensively by researchers at Princeton and Harvard. What they found is that when you're operating under financial stress, when you're constantly worried about money, it literally reduces your cognitive capacity, like measurably. They found that financial stress creates a cognitive load equivalent to losing 13 IQ points. Think about that. Being broke actually makes you dumber. Not because you are dumb, but because your brain is so busy worrying about survival that it can't focus on anything else. So when you're living without savings, every financial decision becomes life or death. Your car breaks down? Crisis. You need to go to the dentist? Crisis. Your kid needs new shoes. You're stressed about it. But here's the thing. Once you hit $10,000 in savings, That same car repair isn't a crisis anymore. It's annoying, sure. Nobody likes dropping $1,200 on a transmission. But it's not a crisis. You pay it, your account drops to $8,800, and you move on with your life. No panic attack, no maxed out credit card, no borrowing money from your parents. And this shift, this mental shift from "I'm one emergency away from disaster" to "I can handle whatever comes up," it changes everything about how you operate in the world. You start making better decisions. Look, when you're desperate, you make desperate choices. You take the first job offer you get because you need the money now. You stay in a bad relationship longer than you should because you can't afford to move out. You don't negotiate your salary because you're terrified they'll rescind the offer. But when you have $10,000 saved, you've got options. And options equal power. You can tell a toxic boss to kick rocks because you've got a few months of runway. You can negotiate that salary because you're not desperate. You're choosing them, not begging them to choose you. You can invest in a certification or a course that might help your career because you're not worried about making rent. This is what people mean when they say freedom. It's not about being rich. It's about having enough of a buffer that you're making decisions based on what's best for you, not what's necessary to survive. The practical financial changes. All right, so that's the psychology. Now let's talk about the actual dollars and cents, because this is where it gets really interesting. The broke tax. There's this thing I call the broke tax, and it's one of the most insidious parts of being poor. Basically, being broke is expensive, and I can prove it. Let's say you're living paycheck to paycheck. Here's what that actually costs you. Overdraft fees. Let's say you overdraft twice a year at $35 a pop. That's $70. Payday loans or cash advances. If you're ever short before payday and you use one of these services, you're paying 15 to 20% interest on that money. If you borrow $500 once a year, that's another $75 to $100 in fees. Credit card interest. Because you can't pay off your balance in full, you're paying 18 to 24% APR on whatever you're carrying. If you're carrying a $2,000 balance, that's about $400 per year in interest. Can't pay insurance annually. Most insurance companies give you a discount if you pay annually instead of monthly, usually around 10%. On a $1,200 per year policy, that's $120 you're leaving on the table. Can't buy in bulk. You're buying the small package of toilet paper instead of the Costco pack because you can't afford the upfront cost. Over a year, this probably costs you $200 to $300 in higher per unit costs. Add it all up, and you're paying somewhere between $800 and $1,200 per year just for being broke. That's not even counting the opportunity cost of not being able to invest, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, here's what changes when you have $10,000 saved. First off, you're never overdrafting. That $70 is gone. You're never using payday loans because you have your own money to bridge gaps. You can pay your credit card in full every month, so that $400 in interest? Gone. You can pay your insurance annually and get the discount. You can buy in bulk and save money per unit. Just by having a savings buffer, you're saving close to $1,000 a year. And that $1,000? That can go straight back into savings, which compounds the effect. You can start playing offense. This is huge. When you don't have savings, you're playing defense 100% of the time. You're just trying not to get wrecked by life. But once you have $10,000, you can start playing offense. What does that mean? Well, let's say you're working a job that pays $55,000 a year, but you know there's a certification that could bump you up to $65,000. That certification costs $800. If you don't have savings, you can't afford it. Or you'd have to put it on a credit card and pay interest on it. So you don't do it, and you stay stuck at $55,000. But if you have $10,000 saved, you can pay the $800, take the course, get the certification, and increase your income by $10,000 per year. That's a 12.5 times return on investment in the first year alone. And that extra $10,000 per year compounds over your entire career. Or let's say you want to start a side business. Nothing crazy. Maybe you want to flip furniture, or do freelance design work, or start a lawn care service. You need maybe $1,000 to get started. Tools, materials, website, whatever. If you don't have savings, you can't do it. But if you have $10,000, you can test it out. And even if it fails, you're only out $1,000. You still have $9,000 left. But if it works, now you've got an additional income stream that could change your entire financial trajectory. See, opportunities cost money. And if you don't have money, you can't access opportunities. It's that simple. The compounding effect. Now, here's where people underestimate the power of that first $10,000. They think it's just a number. But it's not. It's momentum. Here's what I mean. Saving your first $10,000 is hard. Like, really hard. If you're saving $400 per month, that's 25 months, over 2 years. And during that time, you're going to be tempted 100 different ways. New phone drops, your friends want to go on a trip, you see a good deal on a car. There are 1,000 reasons to stop saving and spend that money. But once you hit $10,000, something changes. You've proven to yourself that you can do this. You're not the person who can't save money anymore. You're the person who saved $10,000. And that identity shift is powerful. Because now, saving the next $10,000 feels different. You're not starting from zero. You're not wondering if you can do it. You know you can, because you already did. And here's the math that makes it even better. Your second $10,000 comes way faster than your first. Why? A few reasons. First, you've built the habit. You're not fighting yourself anymore. Saving is automatic. Second, you've locked in your lifestyle. You've proven you can live on less than you earn, and now that gap is permanent. You're not going to inflate your lifestyle back up because you're used to this. Third, you're probably earning more. If you got that $10,000 raise from the certification, or your side business is bringing in an extra $500 per month, or you just got a standard 3% annual raise, your savings rate stays the same, but the absolute dollar amount goes up. And fourth, that first $10,000 is starting to work for you. Even in just a high-yield savings account earning 4 to 5%, that's $400 to $500 per year. In an index fund averaging 10% annually, that's $1,000 per year. You're not starting from zero anymore. You're starting from $10,000 plus whatever it earned. So if it took you 2.5 years to save the first $10,000, the second $10,000 might only take 18 months. And the third? Maybe a year. This is the wealth flywheel. It's slow to start, but once it gets moving, it builds its own momentum. The brutal truth. All right, look. I need to be honest with you for a second, because I don't want to sugarcoat this. If you're watching this video and you don't have $10,000 saved, there's a good chance it's not because you can't. It's because you're not willing to make the trade-offs. And I say that with love, because I've been there. But someone needs to tell you the truth. You cannot save $10,000 if you're spending $600 per month on a car payment for a car you can't afford. You cannot save $10,000 if you're eating out or ordering delivery 5 times a week. You cannot save $10,000 if you're taking 2 vacations a year and buying a new wardrobe every season. The math doesn't work. Now, you might be thinking, but I deserve to enjoy my life. I work hard. And you're right. You do work hard. But here's the question. What do you want more? Do you want the temporary dopamine hit of a new car? Or do you want the permanent security of never panicking about money again? Do you want to impress people with your Instagram vacation photos? Or do you want actual financial freedom? Do you want to look wealthy? Or do you want to be wealthy? Because here's the thing most people don't realize. You can't have both. Not right now, anyway. Not until you've built some real wealth. The people who look rich on social media, most of them are broke. The cars, the clothes, the trips, it's all financed. They're one missed paycheck away from collapse. But the people who actually are wealthy, you wouldn't know it by looking at them. They drive 10-year-old Toyotas. They pack lunches. They don't have the latest everything. Because they understand something fundamental. Sacrifice today equals freedom tomorrow. The game plan. So here's how you actually do this. Because knowing why $10,000 matters is useless if you don't know how to get there. Step 1. Decide on the timeline. Do you want to hit $10,000 in 1 year? 2 years? 3? 1 year. You need to save $833 per month. 2 years. You need to save $417 per month. 3 years. You need to save $278 per month. Pick a timeline that's aggressive but realistic for your situation. Step 2. Automate it. The day after you get paid, have an automatic transfer set up from your checking to a separate savings account. You want this money gone before you can think about spending it. If you wait until the end of the month to see what's left over, there will never be anything left over. Pay yourself first. Step 3. Find the money. You've got 2 options: earn more or spend less. Ideally, you do both. Earn more. Negotiate a raise. Get a certification or new skill. Start a side hustle. Work overtime if it's available. Spend less. Cut subscriptions you don't use. $50 to $100 per month. Cook instead of ordering delivery. $200 to $400 per month. Downgrade your car. $200 to $400 per month. Move to a cheaper place if your lease is up. $200 to $500 per month. I'm not saying you have to do all of these, but you need to do some of them. Step 4. Track your progress. Check your savings balance once a week. Not every day, that's too frequent and you'll get anxious. Not once a month, that's too infrequent and you'll lose momentum. Once a week is perfect. And every time you hit a $1,000 milestone, celebrate a little. Nothing crazy, maybe go out for a nice dinner. Your brain needs positive reinforcement to stick with this. Step 5. Protect it. This is critical. This $10,000 is not for vacations. It's not for a new TV. It's not for Christmas presents. This is your emergency fund, your freedom fund, your I don't have to panic anymore fund. Once you have it, you can start saving for other goals. But this first $10,000 is sacred. Look, here's the bottom line. Most people spend their entire lives stressed about money. They never feel secure. They never feel free. They're always one emergency away from disaster. And the crazy thing is, for most people, that reality is completely avoidable. It's not because they don't earn enough, it's because they never prioritize building that foundation. $10,000 changes everything. It's not retirement money. It's not rich, but it's the difference between living in constant anxiety and living with options. It's the difference between playing defense your whole life and finally getting to play offense. And once you hit it, you're going to look back and wonder why you didn't do this 5 years ago. Trust me. So here's my challenge to you. Decide today that you're going to be in that top 30% of Americans who have $10,000 saved. Decide what your timeline is. Set up that automatic transfer and get started. Because 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're either going to be celebrating hitting this milestone or you're going to be watching another video like this one, wishing you had started sooner. Don't be that person. If this video helped you, smash that like button and subscribe for more real talk about building wealth. Drop a comment and let me know. Where are you at right now, and when are you going to hit $10,000? I'll see you in the next one.